Suppose that last year Karen had $10,000 she wished to invest, and then say that she put some of her money into an account that earned 5% simple interest and the rest in an account that earned 6% simple interest. Suppose after a year passes she earned $520 total in interest. How much money was put into each account? Okay, this is another common type of word problem that can go into a particular form if you notice where the underlying equation is inside of the word problem. So in this particular word problem, the interest formula, it has interest in here, is that if you have a principal amount, let's put the, let's put interest rate first, easier. So if you have an interest rate and you multiply that against a principal amount, then this will give you an amount of interest that you earn on an account. I believe in business courses they often write it like the principal first and then the rate. I think they say I equals PR. But for the chart that I'm going to create on the next slide here that really takes this and organizes the information, we'll use rate times principal equals the interest. So the idea of a chart method is that we just create a chart here. I like to go with a 3x3 grid because there's usually, at least these problems have two things coming together, and I always leave a third row in case I want to do some totaling. And then since the formula was rate times principal equals interest, inside of here we're going to have a rate and then we're going to have a principal, and from those we'll be able to create an interest by multiplying rate times principal and getting interest. Now there's two different accounts going on here, so let me label down here account 1 and account 2, and then we're just going to fill in the chart with the relevant information. So here we go back to here now. I encourage you to stop the video, pause the video for a second, write down the information on a piece of paper, or even just take a screenshot. And we're going to take and figure out what is the information from the problem and put it into the chart. So where are our interest rates? Let's see, there's a 5% interest rate on the first account and 6% on the second. So in the chart I'll put a 5% interest rate on the first account and a 6% interest rate on the second account. Money, principal. How much principal money is there? It looks like $10,000. But it's split into the two different accounts and we don't know how much is in each. So in the chart, the way we'll represent that is we'll say in the first account we don't know how much is in there, so we'll put X many dollars in there. But in the second account is the rest of the money, so that would be $10,000 minus X, however much there was to begin with, in this case $10,000 altogether, subtracted by how much we put into the first account, which was assumed to be X, or called X. So now, because rate times principal equals interest, we can actually go into the third column and just insert the amount of interest from these accounts. 0.05x here, and 600 minus 0.06x here. Okay, now those two pieces of information are going to be useful for us in making an equation. Namely, we have a 0.05x here, and we have a 600 minus a 0.06x here, and we're wondering how much total there was, because if we go back to the problem, remember that the total amount of interest earned was 520. So the blues represent the interest from the first account and the interest from the second account. So what we're going to do is we're going to add those together for a total amount of interest and set that equal to 520. And now we're in algebra land. 0.05x combined like terms with negative 0.0 or minus 0.06x yields negative 0.01x plus 600 equals 520. Subtract 600 from both sides. Negative 0.01x equals negative 80. And then divide by negative 0.01 by negative 100th and get x equals 8,000. Okay, this is not the end of the problem. X equals 8,000 means that the first account was given $8,000. But the second account was 10,000 minus x, where x was 8,000. So we get 10,000 minus 8,000. In other words, the remaining amount there would be $2,000. So what did the question ask for again? It asks for how much was put in each account. So my final answer would be $8,000 at the 5% interest rate and $2,000 at the 6% interest rate.